Hello, Ashley here, and I am here today to talk about my very first quilt that I made after I counted all my t-shirts, and I had 120. This is my pinwheel, vacation pinwheel quilt that I made. It's very large because it's made out of 35 t-shirts, which cut down on my collection considerably. Um, and I'm really proud of this one. Uh, I'll put up a picture now so you can see what it looks like in full frame. I knew that I wanted to do something different rather than just big blocks. So I did some research and I found a really simple way of making pinwheels from a YouTube video by the Missouri Quilting Company. I'll put up their link in my description, and I'll link to it here as well. The title of their video is Fast and Easy Pinwheels, and it truly is. Very fast and very easy, and I was astounded by how quickly the quilt came together. So first of all, a couple of supplies that I needed. One of these mat board things that you can cut on, a rotary blade cutter, some batting once the quilt was all put together, which I just got at Walmart, and a stencil. This is 12 inches by 12 inches with a half-inch seam allowance on two sides. So how did I start? Well, first, I cut up the t-shirts. I took the stencil and I stuck it on the fronts of the shirts and cut them all out. So I ended up with 35 squares. Now I also cut the backs of the t-shirts. So I had the fronts with the designs and then the plain backs. Then I just matched up colors that I thought would look nice together and followed the instructions from the Missouri Quilting Company, which said to put the two front sides squares together and then to sew around the perimeter of the square with like a 1/4 inch seam allowance or whatever you want, basically. So I did that, and then it said to cut along the diagonal both ways on the square that you've put together. So I did that, and then you press it open and you match up opposite colors. So it goes like this final one here. Dark blue, maroon, dark blue, maroon, you know, around the square. And then you just sew it together. Add lots of squares that I decided how to arrange. I put those together in a pattern that I thought was pleasing, sewed in strips. You always try to go to sew the shortest length possible because it gets harder the more you need to push through your machine. And then I had to decide what I wanted to do for the back. I just purchased a large sheet from Walmart that I thought would match nicely. And it was much cheaper that way than picking out some fancy material. And it's got a nice feel to it because it's like microfiber. So I laid the top of the quilt, the pieced quilt, with the batting and then the sheet, and quilted it all together, which is just sewing it all together. I'm not a very good quilter, and I had a lot of issues with my machine getting clogged, and so I had to seam rip lots of times, and it was very frustrating. But I got through it, and then I decided to go with this kind of gray binding. So put that on and did a zigzag stitch to attach it along with just a normal stitch to make sure it was attached. And that's how I made this quilt. It came together very quickly in about a month or two of working on it on weekends and evenings, and I'm really pleased with it. This was my first time of actually cutting up the fronts of t-shirts rather than trying to keep them completely intact, and it's very warm and cuddly. I really need to say thank you to the Missouri company, quilting company, because their pattern was amazing and super easy, and I suggest it to anybody who wants to do something rather than just giant squares for their quilt. So here's a few pictures, and hopefully you can do it as well.